Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. We got a special guest, Jeff Krug, alcohol, funny car, and fuel alter driver. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing great. How about you guys?
Doing good. So you got the
Good.
funny car out there last weekend at Funny Car Chaos. Want to tell us about the weekend?
Oh, that was a lifetime dream right there. I've always wanted to have a funny car and make some passes in a funny car, and got to do it. And while we were doing it, we set a personal best, and really tickled about that. So looking forward to more of it.
So now, where did you find the body for the funny car body? Where'd you find that at?
I found that body out in North Carolina. A fellow fuel-altered team that also has a top alcohol car had an extra body, and we got together, and one of my crew guys went out to North Carolina last December and picked it up and brought it home, and we started working on it. As soon as we heard that Chaos was going to be at our local track, we just knew that we had to put a body on it, so that's what started it all.
So you had a fun time out there with all those guys running?
Oh, sure. You betcha. There were some great teams. I think there was 25 cars there from 12 different states, some real heavy hitters, and we would have qualified number 8. We ended up with some engine damage, which didn't allow us to make the first round, so we had to bow out. But we were tickled to be able to have supposedly been in the top 8 cars.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, are you planning on doing any more funny car chases this year?
We're definitely going to go down to the Mocan race down at Joplin. I believe that's Labor Day weekend. We're going to hit that for sure. We're not sure about the Martin, Michigan race. We might have a conflicting race down in Tulsa that we have to attend for another series that we belong to. So, but certainly want to definitely get back down to Mocan and hit the Chaos deal down there again. That was just a fun time with those guys.
Yeah, that's what Chris and Tara want you guys to do, is have a lot of fun.
No doubt. Our guys had fun. We got to meet some people from Texas and from Kansas and over in Illinois that we didn't know, and just a real close-knit group that everybody was helping everybody, and that's just fun. That's the way racing ought to be.
Yep. So now, Jeff, let me ask you this question. How did you get into drag racing?
Well, this all started back when I was a little kid. I just had a need for speed. Had 4 other brothers, and none of them were involved with it at all. But I just had that need, and when I went off to college, I got involved with a team up in Fort Dodge, Iowa. There were brothers, the Hendricks brothers, Bobby and Barry, and they let me crew, and I started off just wiping the car down, and then doing tires, and then started doing dial-ins for them, and ended up about 2.5 years later buying Barry's Chevy 2, and that was my first car. I called it Obsession number 1, and right now we're on our 6th version of that. So just kind of over the years, just kept accumulating parts and going a little faster and a little faster. We did take about 8 or 10 years off of me driving, and we got our daughter involved in the junior dragster program, and I tell you what, that was the best 8 or 10 years that we could have ever spent. That was the best daddy-daughter time I could have ever had, and we used it as kind of mini vacations, and we raced from Denver to Bristol to St. Louis, Indy. All the tracks I wanted to go down, she got to go down. So we had a great time.
So how did the name Obsession come about? That's just your obsession with racing?
I think so. It just fit. It just that's what it is for me. That's the reason I get up every morning. I work. obviously you have to provide for your family and whatnot, but everything I do is trying to better that racing program of ours. And as long as I'm standing and walking and vertical, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Now, what year did the Fuel Altered come about?
We bought the Fuel Altered about 5 years ago. It was a car came out of Texas, and met a guy met him halfway. I met him down in Oklahoma and brought it home, and then we just tore the car apart and started over and made it the way that we wanted it. I had a bunch of big block Chevrolet parts from all of my bracket racing days, so I started in with Chevy stuff, and that's what we're still running. And we just built it from there, and got 4 or 5 of my buddies that decided they'd help me as far as crew-wise, and that just helps. The girls, they jump in, everything from food to GoPros and just everything that we do. So real happy to be associated with the group that we're with.
All right, now who are your crew members?
I've got James Kyle. James is, we call him Young Gun. He's actually, when my daughter got done junior dragster driving, we put James in our junior for a couple of years. And now he's returned the favor, and he's helping me out on the crew. And so that's been great. Chuck Emery is another guy that has been helping me. Big Chuck, he could bend a crowbar in a sandbox if you wanted him to, but his heart's in a great place, and he'll do anything we ask him to do. So happy to have him, and his wife loves to cook, and so none of the teams anywhere close to us ever go hungry. She puts on a heck of a spread of food there. So Scott Grant, he's a guy that I was involved with years ago, and he actually painted my first obsession, and he stayed with us, and so we really enjoyed having Scott around. And then, of course, my wife, my daughter, and then we've got another gal, Steph Nudge. She helps us with GoPros and videos and stuff like that. And then they also help us with we're not sponsored by anybody. What we do is we try to give back, and so something real near and dear to our heart is the Donate Life program and the Iowa Donor Network and Garrett's Path. So we're trying to bring awareness to organ donation and the tremendous need for that. So we've got that stuff splattered all over the car, and we're trying to bring awareness. And it's really humbling to listen to some of the stories of the fans as they come up to the pit and share their story in that regard. So I hope we're doing some good there.
Now, for Funny Car Chaos, you had to kind of scramble and get a crew together, right?
Well, what we did there is we could have used maybe one more hand, but the track made the announcement that if somebody wanted to come see the race, if they came in as crew, then they could be allowed. So I just put the call out and said, hey, if you want to be on our crew, come on. So we had some takers, and we had plenty of help.
That's good.
So there's some hardcore racers out there and fans that want to see racing going on, and that's a cool deal.
Yep. Now, with the fuel altered body on there, what's the quickest pass you've made with the fuel altered?
Well, with the altered, the best we've ever been was a 421 at about 169, I think we've been with that. And so with the funny car body, kind of ironic, just a little bit heavier, but we found something over the winter that we were able to pick up some ET and some mile an hour. So we went from a best of a 420 with the fuel altered body that's 126 pounds lighter to the funny car, and we ran a 412 at 176. So pretty happy with what we found over the winter, and there's more left. We ought to be in the O's pretty easy.
Now, are you running a screw blower or are you injected alcohol?
No, we're a 1471 high helix roots type blower. We're putting about 45, 46 pounds to it, and so that's about all it wants right now.
Huh.
So running on alcohol. Haven't put any nitro in the tank at all. Need to get a better handle on our tune-up now that we've got things going in the right direction before we delve into that. But someday we're going to put some pop in the tank.
Ah, there you go. A little bit of nitro injected, huh?
Yeah, yep. We'll have a good time with that.
Yeah, it's always nice to smell some nitro.
What's that, Dave?
I said it's always nice to get a whiff of the nitro.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I just love hearing that pop. It's, you do that burnout and you got one of those nitro guys right beside you and you hear him backing up and you just want to have that same sound coming out of your car. But that'll be in the future.
Yeah, that's the neat thing about Chaos is you get to run against the nitro guys.
Yes, yeah. It's a fun deal. It's an outlaw class. It's a run what you brung, and you better bring enough. And I like that.
Yep, as long as you got a funny car body on that thing, there you go.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Betcha. So, those guys, they're going back to Texas to run some more series races down there. I wish I had time to be able to get loose and get down there, but it doesn't look like we probably will have a chance to do that this year. But definitely going to Joplin.
Yeah, the Detroit Tiger was set on kill.
Yes, yeah. Those guys had it really going on this weekend.
Yeah, Steve really gets that car, really rocking all the time. Every time he's out with that car.
Yep. My only regret at Chaos is that we're always in our pit, working on the car, trying to make it better. Don't get out there and meet all those teams and everybody. And I kind of look forward to doing that more in the future. But there's some great guys out there.
Man. Maybe the next one you could meet some more of these guys at your next outing with them.
Yeah. Yep. Looking forward to it.
Now for you, Jeff, who are some of your big influences for drag racing? You have any?
Well, obviously getting started with the Hendricks brothers up in Fort Dodge. They got me started. You always got to start somewhere, and then beyond that, Tommy Johnson Sr. and Tommy Johnson Jr. are good friends of ours. We live in southeast Iowa. Became very good friends of them when they lived in the Ottumwa area. Was in their shop on almost a daily basis. And those guys help a lot. And as I moved towards this funny car deal, I called Junior and said, "Hey, can you share any tips? Can you we're mounting the body up, and we were going over to PRI show, and I was able to slip into Schumacher's shop, and he hooked me up with one of their guys that mounts their bodies, and gave us some tips. Do this, don't do this, consider this, and it's stuff like that. So guys like him, of course, there's the greats. There's Snake, Force. You can't take anything away from John. But then there was guys from back when I was, doing the bracket racing and the super gas stuff, and I remember Lee Shepard, from back in the Pro Stock days, and Glidden and WJ, and just all those guys that put out a positive influence in the sport. And you strive to be like them, and so that's just a few that come to mind right off the bat. But there's certainly more, I'm sure.
Now, when you started drag racing back in the bracket, was your family involved with your drag racing?
No, actually, I was about 250 miles away from my family, and so wasn't married. I was an 18, 19-year-old kid that was just off at a technical school, and got hooked up with some guys that did a weekly bracket racing, and they kind of took me in as part of their family. And so I'd go to school from 7:30 till about 3 o'clock, and then I went and worked at a parts store for a short time, and then I'd go back to their shop, and there was a lot of nights, 3-4 nights a week, where we'd work till 1-2 o'clock at night, working in the shop, whether it was on the customers' vehicles or working on the race cars, and got to earn your way in there. And about the third year, they gave me an opportunity to drive one of their cars, and so I really appreciated it, and that got me started.
Well, you know how they say drag racing's one big family.
Oh, it is. It is. I really enjoy that about drag racing. Never a scorned look or it's just great people. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, you get on the starting line, you're there to rip each other's head off. Then as soon as that run is done, you're best friends again.
Oh yeah, you betcha. And you've seen that before. You've seen guys get in trouble down there at the bottom end, and somebody, they'll slide them tires and bring that car to a stop, jump out, and they're over there before the ambulance guys are there. And that's what you got to do. You got to have everybody's back, and that's what makes the sport better.
Yep. So for you, when you first started drag racing back in the bracket car days, what was your first time experience like going down the drag strip for the first time ever?
1967 Chevy Camaro with a 427. It was 30 over with a power glide with a 5500 stall converter. And Bobby Hendricks told me, he says, do not come back if you shift less than 8,200 RPM. And man, I was just hooked then. And the second weekend, I ended up winning a race. Winning the entire event. So I was hooked. It was a good time. And just love it. Just love it.
Then how was the first time experience driving a fuel altered?
I tell you, you have to respect those cars. Everybody thinks you're crazy, and you got to be partially crazy, but you have to have respect, and you got to try to be on your game, because those cars are quick, and there's times when you're just along for the ride, and you gotta be careful. But it's thrilling, it's exhilarating, it's a rush, and every time you have a personal best, you want to go back and start turning the screws just a little bit more, and let's make this thing go faster and faster.
And then how was your first time experience having the funny car body on it?
Well, the first pass was real good. We made a half pass, just a checkout thing, make sure that everything was good. And then the second pass that we made, that was the weekend before the Chaos race. And it was at the time, it was a personal best. We ran a 420 at 169. Reached up for the parachutes, and they're in a different position on the funny car body than they were on the fuel altered. And you reach up and you swat at it to hit them chutes, and I missed them. and next thing you know, you grab a hold of that brake handle, because there's no foot brakes, and you got that brake handle, you ain't letting go of it.
Yeah.
And you're on that baby hard. We had the rotors blue, and I went off the end of the track, and we ended up about 150 foot out into the cornfield, plowing a little bit of dirt, and we broke the front of the body in. We got a crack up there already, and we got a road, and stopped, shut the motor off, jumped out. Good, we're good, So I was really fortunate, but it's an education. Like I said, you have to respect that stuff, and you've got to have a rhythm. And if you don't, it's going to bite you. And luckily, it didn't bite us very hard. So we were able to make it come back for the Chaos race the next weekend.
So after wanting to drive a funny car for so long, was it everything you expected?
Yes, it was, and we're looking for more. Like I said, you just always want to go faster. We get back and we download the runs to the computer, and you start looking at the graphs, and you know that we can improve. And so I really enjoy that portion of it. There's so much of this that the learning curve is really steep, steeper than anything that I've ever done. And so I'm very fortunate to have some other fellow racers that are helping guide me. Neil Hinman with the Bad Habit, double A fuel altered. Neil's always just a phone call away, and he listens and he says, okay, all right, what you're telling me, and let's try this. And that's one of the main reasons we keep going forward is there again, a brother in racing that is willing to reach out and help you. And he could be pitted right beside you and have you the next round, but he'll help me. So I love it.
Now, after all the years of drag racing, Jeff, what still keeps you passionate about it? Is it the need for speed?
It's the competition. I love the competition. I love the adrenaline. I get to, in my day job, I'm in sales, and I get to compete every day in that regard. But I love getting on the track and being able to compete. And for me, it's a internal competition. It's okay. Are we doing the burnout right? And are we straight? And because when I back up, I don't want to have to move that butterfly wheel at all. And so it's just an internal competition I have with myself to make myself better and better and better every run. And so we do that. Then you want a better reaction time. You want a better 60 foot. You want a better 330. And it just keeps going. And so I love the competition.
Yeah, and I'm sure you love the fans too.
Oh gosh, yes. That's what's really fun. The people stop by and they want to visit. And we a lot of times, most of the time, we just say, hey, come on in. Take a good look at this thing. Get the kids. If the youngsters want to get in the car, we'll certainly put them in the car and let them get some pictures and let them experience it. I never ever thought I would ever be able to hand out a hero card, and the kids just they eat that stuff up, and I'm so tickled to be able to do that. I remember, being a kid, you always, you ask earlier, who do you look up to? Well, man, I was that guy that was standing at the ropes, hoping to have any kind of a conversation with any of those guys, and now I get to do it, and we make sure we have time to do that. They're the future.
Yep. Now, if there's one thing that you could have your fans remember about you, what would that be that you want them to remember about you?
I just want them to remember me as a good guy that just love doing, love being there at the racetrack more than anything. And I've always said, if we can't be fast, we're going to at least look good. And so just kind of an all-around package. I guess that's what I would say to that.
Now, do you prefer quarter mile or eighth mile racing?
We've primarily done just eighth mile racing. Even when we were bracket racing. Around here in southeast Iowa, there's more of the eighth mile tracks. And I personally like eighth mile racing because I think it makes you a better driver. Things happen so quickly and so fast. In the quarter mile, you've got that last eighth of a mile to, when you're bracket racing, to judge the other guy. Eighth mile, you got to be on your game. So I enjoy the eighth mile stuff, but someday we've got to make some quarter mile passes because then we're getting into the bigger speed.
Yep. Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from, Jeff?
Safety stuff is all everything that I put on myself personally is Simpson equipment. I had a good relationship with those guys, so we run all Simpson stuff. We run DJ safety as far as the blower restraints and the diaper bag, Bonafani's titanium bell housing, and Bonafani clutch. So we run those guys' stuff for that. So we try to stay with the name brand companies that can provide us the service that we need, because we have to be able to send it in each year and get it recertified. And there's times when in the middle of the season you need something, and so it's good to do business with the folks that can make sure that they get you taken care of. And so that's how we've invested our money there. And safety we spend a lot of money on safety because obviously these cars are dangerous. And my wife wants me to come home at the end of the day, and I do too.
Now, have you reached any personal milestones in your drag racing career?
Well, now that we're getting this thing running better, it seems like every weekend we get to set another new personal best. So I just keep looking forward to that. I definitely want to go in the threes and the 390s, and then when I hit the 390s, then that won't be good enough. I want to go 380s. So that's just how it goes.
Now, was Funny Car Chaos your first event for this year?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And we were fortunate that they were able to pull that off.
Yeah.
With the pandemic being the way it was and how it disrupted everyone's lives, I think everybody was ready to get out there and be at something and be at an event. And so I was tickled to death to be able to go over there to Eddyville and be a part of that one.
So how was it like in the pit area? Was it any different than, without the pandemic where the people was distancing and all that stuff?
Oh, yes, they were. There were some that had their masks, some that stayed their distance, didn't want to come into the pit. And hey, that's their personal preference and good for them. But they obviously didn't have the crowd that they would normally have had at that event. So it was pretty easy for everybody to keep their distance, so the track did a good job of that, and but we're all, of course, looking forward to being able to get elbow to elbow up on the fence, get close to the starting line, and watch everybody, and hopefully that's coming in the very, very near future.
Yep.
Yeah, there's just nothing like, being a fan and being able to stand right up at the starting line, up at the fence, smelling that nitro, that alcohol, that burning rubber, feel that thunder, bouncing off your chest. That's drag racing. That's cool stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure the pandemic will be done soon.
Let's hope so. We want everybody to be healthy and safe, but we also we're ready to get on and get on with our lives, and so let's hope so.
But yeah, nowadays with what's going on with all the stuff going on, you know what I'm talking about, all the people attacking stores, looting, all this. People kind of forgot about the pandemic now.
Yes. Yeah. That's a whole nother story. We could get into politics all day long, but let's hope that dies down quickly, and this country can come back together and go for the common good of the country, and let's all move forward.
Yep. Now, outside of drag racing, do you have any other hobbies?
Work. I love to work. I sell Caterpillar construction equipment for a living, and past that, we have our home here. We've got an acreage here that with a pond, and it constantly takes maintenance, and I'm always working. I don't come into the house. I get up at 6 in the morning, and I don't come in from the shop until 11:30, 12 o'clock every night. So I like to work, and I'm going to as long as I can.
Now, throughout your drag racing career, have you won a lot of trophies?
Actually, I would say not that many. Again, my racing career has been kind of sporadic. It was stretched out. You know, after I bought the first Chevy 2, we raced it for 2 or 3 years, and then ended up blowing up the motor. Then about that time, we got married, and so your focus shifts to your married life. And so then I tore that car apart, and that was back in the mid-'80s, and I built a super gas car out of it. But that took me about 6 years to do that. So while I was not driving, I was helping other people and building that car. And then we started in with that, and I picked up a all fiberglass '89 Ford Thunderbird that looked like Glidden's car, that body style with an all 500-inch Ford in it, and had that for a little bit. Then we had hardtail Spitzer dragster, and we were going to go super comp racing, and that's about the time our daughter got involved with the juniors, and we quickly found that, at least for our family, it was better to focus just on one car. And so I put the super comp dragster up on jack stands for about 10 years, and that was the best decision I ever made personally, to spend that time with our daughter and go have the fun with all those kids and those families. So then once we got her through college and everything done, it was time to realize my lifelong dream, and that was I was able to pick up that fuel altered and now this funny car deal, and I just love it.
So after juniors, your daughter didn't want to do any more drag racing?
No, it's not that. She would love to, but she's in Denver, Colorado, and I'm in Iowa, and it's just hard to put those two together. And so I keep hinting at her that she could come back and climb into the altered sometime, and I think that's maybe a little bit more than what she wants to do, but she would certainly come back and climb back into. We were going to keep the super comp dragster for her, but when she ended up with her job, took her to Denver. It just didn't make sense.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, never say never. Never say never. Someday, I guess she might jump back in and race again.
Exactly. Yep. Still got the driving suit. Still got the helmets. Still got all the stuff, and so she still got that competitive spirit. She was a swimmer. Competitive swimmer, so she likes competition as well as I do.
Now, Jeff, if you were able to do time traveling and go back into time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing career?
Well, yes, but no. Right when we got married, I had an opportunity Frank Hawley had started his drag racing school back in the mid-'80s, and I had enough saved up that I could have gone and got my alcohol funny car license back in 1985. But we did the right thing. Got married, started our family. It was more important for us to do that. So, had I had all the money in the world that I wanted, I'd have been driving funny cars way back in the '80s. And who knows where that could have led us? But you know what? I'm happy with where we're at. So I'm just tickled and blessed to have what we have and be able to do what we do.
So now, when you have a weekend of drag racing coming up, what is how do you prepare for that? How do you get the car prepared?
Oh Lord! Right now we've got the car in the shop. We drop the pan, check all the rod and main bearings, oil pump. We don't pull the heads unless things aren't looking good. But and we just go through every nut and bolt on the car from front to back, because these things, when they shake, they can loosen, they can break things, and you have to look at every piece on that car. And so we do that. We go through the trailer and restock, whether it's brake clean or whether it's oil, whether it's fuel, whether it's, whatever. You have to do that. Right down to, we don't pull out of the driveway unless we check the tire on the motor home, every tire on the motor home and the trailer. So there is a tremendous amount of prep. And then, of course, you got the clutch work to do. We run a triple disc clutch, so you got to resurface clutch discs and floaters and keep them within a certain tolerance, and Rockwell hardness and all this stuff that these guys have been teaching me, so that we can be competitive, but also so that we can repeat. So there's a tremendous amount of work. You'll put in 40, 50 hours worth of work, to make a 4-second pass.
Now, with all the cars you've raced in throughout the years, do you have a most embarrassing moment with any of these cars out on the track?
Well, I would say we did that at Chaos on the second qualifier. The oil filter canister loosened up, and we spit 7 quarts of oil on Gerald's track over there, and I don't ever want to do that again. So that just isn't in our DNA. That's not in our makeup. That's not what we like to do.
Wow.
So I would say that's probably it.
Yeah. Now, what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
Every time I'm at the track. Seriously. I would say up to now, when we won the 2018 World Fuel Altered Nationals, that was definitely a highlight for us. But just as much as when my daughter went to the quarterfinals at the big race out in Denver, the Western Conference Finals. So we take every one of those wins and we savor it, because they're hard to come by. And so those are fun times, but just being at the track with all the people, that's equally as gratifying and rewarding.
Now, have you been in any accidents or close calls throughout your racing career?
No, we've been very fortunate. The closest call that we had would have been 2 weeks ago there when we put it in the cornfield, and that was not really a big deal for us, luckily. So again, you have to really respect these cars and try to be on your game. So we obviously anything can happen, but we've been very fortunate that we have been very safe, and but the more laps that you make, the more exposure you got. Someday it's going to come. But that's why we invest so much in our safety equipment.
Now, besides Funny Car Cast, do you have any other things scheduled for yourself?
Yes, the Midwest Pro Outlaw group is a group that we race with. There's a bunch of guys here based in the Midwest. It's a combination of fuel altereds, top alcohol dragsters, funny cars, pro mods, front and rear engine dragsters, and we all run on a 4-second index. And so we've got an event coming up at Eddyville Raceway Park in late July. I believe it's on the 25th. So we've got one of those races then, and then we've got another one with those guys that we're going to attend later in September down at Tulsa, part of the Nitro Nationals group. And then, of course, the World Fuel Altered Nationals event is coming up in mid-August, and we're not going to miss that. So we'll be there for that one as well.
Awesome. Now, what are a few of your favorite tracks to run on?
Well, Eddyville is so close. That one's been good to us. Haven't been as tremendous a lot of tracks, with my cars in recent years. So, back in my bracket days, we'd go up to Tri-State, up at Earlville, Iowa, and we'd every now and then we'd go to Cordova and Eddyville. But now we're going, we went over to Central Illinois Dragway over to Havana. We've been down there. We've been to Joplin. Ottawa has got a great little new track over there in western Iowa. We're looking forward to going back to that. We don't travel quite as far, but we're starting to.
Now, what is the best way for people to find out, all your races, where you're going to be and all that good stuff?
Well, that's one place where we have been so busy building this funny car deal and updating the components and stuff that I have not done a great job on my Facebook page or on promotion of us. And I'm kind of generally a quiet guy. I don't put a lot of stuff out, but we do some, and we need to do a better job. But probably our Facebook page, or my Facebook page, Jeff Krug. There, go to Midwest Pro Outlaws. It's Quick Performance Midwest Pro Outlaws. Our group puts a fair amount out there. We've got some videos from some past races and a lot of the competitors there. So that would be a couple of the spots to go to.
Now, do you think you ever make a Facebook page for just the car, like a like page?
I need somebody, a younger person, to step up and help me. Like I say, I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning working, and I don't go to bed till 11:30, 12 o'clock. And I just personally haven't been able to find the time to do that correctly. Everything I do, I want to do it right. And if I can't do it well, it's better not to do it. So if I could have somebody, from the team or somebody locally that could step up and help me with that, sure. Yeah, we'd consider it.
Yeah, maybe even like one of the team members' kids can run it, or something like that.
Yeah, yep. Anything's possible.
Because the kids, they love to be on the internet, so.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
They're all internet savvy and all that good stuff.
You bet. Yep, definitely.
So when you run your next Funny Car Chaos this year, Jeff, what are you hoping to accomplish for your next one?
Well, we definitely want to be in the top 8. We want to go some rounds, and obviously, I don't go to participate; I go to win. So that's always the goal. If you don't have that mindset, you just well stay home. So, but to do that, we're going to have to pick up performance. We're going to have to go faster. We're going to have to be more competitive. We're going to have to be on the tree. So, because there's some, as you can see from Chaos last weekend there at Eddyville, you've got guys ripping off, mid 370 passes, and there's some other guys that are, capable of going quicker than that. So it's tough, but that's why it's fun. It's because it makes you step up your game even better and better.
Yep.
And, so to improve every time we go out.
Yeah, so a learning experience.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yep. You don't learn something every day. It's a waste of day.
Yep. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do the interview tonight.
Hey, it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
No problem. We'll do another one in the future.
Okay. Very good.
Hope we have some good win stories to talk about.
Yeah, that'll be fun. You betcha.
Yeah, well, thanks again, Jeff. You have a great night. You have any final words for anybody?
Come out to the races, support the racetracks, support the racers, support the sponsors that make it all happen. So that would be my hope for everybody.
Awesome. Thanks again, Jeff. You have a great night.
All right, Dave. Take care. Thanks.
Bye-bye.